Hey everybody, Motorport 59 here. I've been reading since before the invasion of the Ukraine by Russia. Prior to that happening, we were hearing about how screwed we were going to be if this happened. And then once it happened, I started reading about how screwed we are. I'm talking about America. You hear how the whole rest of the world and everybody is screwed. But the simple fact is, Russia's just Russia. They're not the biggest country. They supply a lot of things, but they don't supply a lot of things that other people can't supply themselves if they put their heads down and get to it. And one of the things that I heard a lot about in the last couple of weeks, I haven't heard it kicked around in the last few days. I haven't had time to do many of these videos. My other channel's been taking up a lot of time, and my life's been taking up a lot of time. But the urea fertilizer issue with Russia and the Ukraine, they're both big suppliers of it, and this is one of the things. And it's a big deal. It is in fertilizers. I read that the cost of fertilizer in general in the United States has gone up over 300% since all this started. And why is that? It's because the United States government will not let American industry go. They will not take the leash off of American industry. Have we forgotten what we did during World War II and during World War I? Have we forgotten how we went from being a farming society to an industrial powerhouse? From where we went to being almost an isolationist country to being the dominant financial, economic powerhouse and industrial powerhouse in the world. We became the first superpower. Russia would never have become a superpower on its own. It needed the entire industrial complex of the Soviet Union, of all of its member nations, to become the superpower it was. And when the Soviet Union fell, Russia really hasn't been a superpower since then. They call it a superpower because they have nuclear weapons, but they're really not a superpower. They had an economic powerhouse going on for a while, but that has been decaying over the course of time. Over the last decade or so, their economy has been steadily deteriorating. And that's why they're doing the things they're doing right now. I was going to say it has nothing to do with conquering land, but Putin is a former KGB thug, and that tigers don't change their stripes. But nevertheless, back to America. What we need to do is ramp up our production. We can do this. We can do this easily. It might take a year or so for things to get up to speed, but we can do it. And in that year, we'll survive whatever happens. We've done it before. We can do it again. But the Democrats will not let that happen, and the Republicans won't grow balls to start fighting for this. They're so afraid they're going to be labeled as environmental haters, whatever. It doesn't matter. The Republicans are such cowards today. They're such pussies. Pardon my French. But you know what? I get sick of it. I had a discussion with, my cousin went out and shot some videos with me for my other channel the other day. We're talking about this. We're talking about Kevin McCarthy, who is our congressman here in this district, and how he's not really a rhino, but he needs to grow some balls. People will listen to him if he will take the lead. And I just don't know why we don't just ramp up everything. We could ramp up our agricultural production, we could ramp up our oil production, we could be energy independent like we were a year and a half ago. We could be the powerhouse that we were after World War II and up to the time that the Democrats began falling into the pockets of the environmentalists, because that is really what the deal is. And I know I've beat this dead horse a number of times, and I'll continue to beat it because I can't stand the environmental left. They're hypocrites. If you're a true environmentalist, even if you're a true environmentalist nutcase, hey, I respect the fact that you stand up for something and you're not beholden to a government agenda. I disagree with you wholeheartedly, but that is a different story. Go on, stand up for what you believe in. I stand up for what I believe in. Why should I expect you to do any differently? But if you're just one of these people who's being led around by the nose by the left, you're just a sheep. You're just one of the sheep. And I'm not saying there aren't conservatives and Republican sheep out there too. Obviously there are, or we would be getting things done. For crying out loud. Let's stop sitting on our butts. Let's stop counting on anyone. We don't even get much oil from Russia, 3%. And that's not all oil that's going to be made into gasoline. That's oil. That is petroleum, period. That's not all light sweet crude that they use to make gasoline. We're talking about all petroleum products, 3% that are shipped into the United States. And that's nothing. That's nothing. Speculation is what is driving these oil prices, and I've done videos and I've done writings about that, and this paltry release of pieces of the national strategic national reserve, petroleum reserve, and these silly amounts that I did a video about the other day. I'm not going to get back into it. We can handle this ourselves. The people of the United States need to stand up. It's time for a revolt. I'm not talking about going out and blowing things up and shooting people. I'm talking about a revolution of thought. And we can push that agenda. But the Republicans have to get behind us. They're supposed to be leading us, but that's not what they're doing. They're being led around by the nose, by the left, just like everyone else. And it's sickening. We can do this. We are the United States of America. There's nothing we can't accomplish, and we have proven that time and again from the day this country was founded. Let's do it again. Let's show the world, but more importantly, let's show ourselves that we can do this again. Barack Obama spent his entire 2 terms in office deriding American exceptionalism, trying to tell us that we were just ordinary Joes, and we are not. We are Americans. We have proven over the course of time how great we can be when we set our minds to it. And now we have Democrat politicians in the left trying to convince us that we're just plain old people, and we're not. We are, by God, Americans. What do you think about that? Let me know in the comments below. Shoot me an email at motopoet59@gmail.com. Like, share, subscribe. Click on the bell if you want to be notified of future content. We'll see you all later.